Well, hey guys, it's been a while. Trying to get some videos done here for the garage, and got a little problem. I thought I'd just share with you. You know, one of my other videos, I modified my old Speedway mill so it would have a fine feed on it, and that works great. But there still seems to be some problems with this mill. One thing, it's noisy. I mean, very noisy. Now, you know, the way this thing is designed, it's got this cover on the top and there's 3 pulleys up here and belts, and this thing just vibrates like it's, you know, something's not balanced right, especially when I'm milling steel. And it's been, you know, on my mind on what's been going on with it. And I thought maybe I'd just tear it down and go through it and see if I can find anything. And then the other day I was doing this, and let me show you this. Over here on the lathe, and I had these tool post holders that went with the old tool posts I had, and the dovetails are way too small in it. So I took one of them and I put it on the mill and milled it out so that it would fit. And I called myself doing a halfway decent job at measuring it. But, you know, check this out. I'll take the tool post, drop it on the holder. Look at that. Never tightened up. And the way it's supposed to tighten up is when you drop a good tool post on it, it'll lock about right there. So, you know, that works real good. And this OXA-0 tool post is awesome. I love it. But, you know, I took some other ones that I made a while back, and see how tight this one fits? And it locks good. Now you had to go take a file to it and clean it up a little bit, but it's still a little bit tight. And I said, you know, when I did this one, I said, okay, I must have measured terribly and got it wrong. And when I did this one, I said, well, I guess I made a mistake in my measurement again. And this one here is way so loose that it won't tighten up. And this one is still a little snug. I can take a file to it and clean that up. But since I think, you know, I can't be that bad at measuring. I mean, that's what I do at work, is measure a lot of stuff in the quality department. And it just blew my mind. You know, I'm thinking, what's going on here? Well, again, I've noticed that the mill is noisy. Now here's a steel one that I made. And see where the handle's locking at? It works. But the handle's locking way too far over, which means this one is a bit oversized also. Okay, so I got a dial indicator set up on the table, and it's going to the ER32 collet holder that's attached to the spindle. I'll zoom in here a little bit so y'all can get a little bit better sense of what's going on. I'm going to just reach up here and take my hand and put on the spindle and pull. See that? Now I'm going to push. Okay, I got this set at 0 now, so I'm going to push on it. That's about 8 or 9 thousandths. And then if I pull, that's 10 to 11 thousandths. So we're looking at 18 thousandths movement in that spindle. And it doesn't matter if I got it run down or run up, it still has movement in it. So I wanted to make sure there was no column moving, and I cut the indicator back, rolled the table back, put it up against the column, and I'm pushing and pulling on it, and that is not moving at all. So it's not the column that's moving. So by doing the same thing with the head, I got the head dial indicator on that little bolt that holds that plastic cover on. I'm going in here and I'm pulling and pushing, and you can see the dial indicator doesn't move at all. So all the play is in this spindle. Some of my concerns are, okay, what kind of bearings did they use in this machine? Is it ball bearings or cone bearings? As we know, ball bearings work fine. When the ball bearings like this, it works fine around it, but ball bearings cannot handle side load. Now, a milling machine is going to be all about side load. If there's ball bearings in here, then those ball bearings are probably worn out now. Like I say, this mill has done most of his life drilling and not milling. So it's been a lot of down pressure on it. So I'm here looking at the manual, and we can see the spindle auger, and this is the wheel, and I can see item 46 up here at the top. Let me zoom in on that for you a little bit. Now you can see item 46 here at the top. When I turn the page and look up items 46, it says bearing ball. So it does have ball bearings in this milling machine. Here, item 49. This is the bottom of it. Item 49 is a bearing ball. So they have used ball bearings in this machine. And I don't know if there's enough room in there to convert it. You know, I can get the same diameter outside, inside, but it's the thickness that's going to be the problem. And I don't know if I can get something that's going to be the right thickness to go back in there and convert it over to a cone bearing. So basically I got two choices. One, I can tear this quill assembly out, try to rebuild it, get some cone bearings in it. That'll take care of hopefully the side-to-side problem, which could be contributing to the other problem. Like I said, this machine vibrates, and as you can see, it's got a pretty hefty motor. It's an AC motor on the back of it, and you can see there's one pulley, and there's a middle pulley, and there's the quill pulley. So to really make this machine more versatile, because it's aggravating changing these belts. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 steps on each pulley, and you have to loosen up the motor, loosen up the centerpiece, it'll slide, take the belts off, move them, put them back on, tighten everything back up. It's about a 15-minute job just to change the speed on this machine. I say it's got a lot of speeds to it, but still, it's a little aggravating to do. So probably the best thing to do is to do away with these pulleys, put a gear here, get a small variable drive motor and mount up here, and put a small belt to run the quill with a variable drive on it. And you're looking, I don't know, $300 to $500 using the cheaper Chinese made stuff to do that. So now this is a mill that I bought in the 90s, and I can't remember, $500-700 what I give for it new, maybe more. It's been so long I can't remember. So, you know, do I want to put that kind of money in this old mill? Regardless, the quill needs to be rebuilt and new bearings put in it. That's a given. The fine feed I added to it works like a charm, and the table is it's pretty accurate. You know, you XY travel is just perfect on it. It's good and tight, stiff. There's no backlash in any of the worm screws, so you know, table works fine. It's just that the quill and the way this motor is designed on this thing makes it a little aggravating. So I guess what I'm gonna do is go ahead and pull the fine feed out, pull the wheel handle out, and take the locking nut off the top and see what I got to do to get this quill out, and see if we can figure out just what's going on with it. Well, that was kind of a surprise. I took my fine feed off, went ahead and pulled the quill lock out, and to get the handle out, there's one screw underneath the bottom. I took it out and that handle pulled right out. Well, when I did that, you can see the whole quill assembly drops right out. It just came right out of the machine. So I was expecting it to be in there a little tight, and get that drawbar down. As you can see, there's a bearing in the bottom, and it's just a ball bearing, and same thing in the top, just a bearing held on with a C-clip. So I'm gonna have to get this thing cleaned up and see what I can do to get those bearings out and go from there. I really don't think that I'm going to be able to put cone bearings back in this. May be surprised, find out I can, but I don't see it. Okay, the quill is took apart and cleaned up. Now this part here just rides in bushings in there, and the spindle handle just keeps this here straight. Now this thing will move a little bit, but it's pretty solid inside the mill. I don't think there's no problem with these bushings that's in there causing a problem with this moving, and it looks like the problem is here in these bearings. Now let me see if you can hear this. This is the top bearing. It rotates fine. See how I spin it? You don't hear nothing. I'm hoping the camera can pick this up. Here's the bottom bearing that's been taking all the side load. That bearing is wore out. And the way this is designed, I don't see how I can put any taper bearings in there. I just don't think it'll work, because you would have to put the race in this end, and the race is going to be thicker, and when this bearing's put on, it's put back in, there's a slot there for the C-clip. So all your stack up's going to be at this end, and then we go into a taper, and then these splines are cut in. So there's no way to move up to put a C-clip that will hold it. The bottom is slid on and pressed onto this end, and you know, it goes up against this here blunt end on it and keeps that from coming out. But the bottom bearing is wore out. These are 6205-2R5 on the bottom, and a 6004-RZ for the top. So I guess I'm just gonna have to replace the bearings and see if that makes any difference. That's the only thing I know to do at this time. Now, I did go online, and I was just before clicking submit on buying the Harbor Freight 2-speed variable speed mini mill. It's $719. I had a 10% coupon, $56 tax, $96 shipping. It come to like $874 after the 10% coupon. And I noticed as soon as I was to buy that, they would come out with a 20 or 25% coupon. So I want to wait to see if that happens and just go ahead and buy that small mini mill. Like I say, I have the Harbor Freight lathe, works like a charm. The thing is, with the Harbor Freight mini mill, there is several other mills that is just like it and cost more. And the reason why it costs more is that they're sent to a third party that actually does modifications and stuff to them and takes out any errors, and they might add a couple of things to them. But you know, if I can get that mill for $200 off, I can do those modifications myself and make it a lot better than what it is. And for what I'm here, it's a pretty decent mill for what it is. Okay, I went ahead and removed the big bearing from the bottom. It just pressed right off. No deal. Now, if I could reproduce this shaft, I could modify it, you know, and move this groove up. But I have no way of making these splines. I could make this, but I don't know if I could get the center bored out correctly. It's actually 2 different bores here, so I don't know, may could. It's one size up to here, and then it's smaller up to here for the drawbar. You know, if I could do that, I could move this snap ring groove up and put tapered bearings in here. But without doing that, there's no way of doing it that I see. So, still leaning on buying the new mill, and hopefully I can get a 20 or 25% coupon coming up here sometime. Who knows? Could be 2 days, could be a year before they offer that coupon. I know they had one last year where you could buy anything for 25% off, but I haven't seen it come out this year yet. So we'll just have to wait and see. Alright guys, so that's where we at on this right now. I'm going to go by the bearing store and pick up these bearings. And I'm also going to look to see if just happen if there's any cone bearings that's no thicker than these. I don't think I'm going to find them. Cone bearings is always a little bit thicker, so I doubt I'll find any. We'll look and see. Maybe we'll get lucky. I don't know. But that's where we are. And in the meantime, I'm going to still be looking for coupon codes. Like I say, I think the Harbor Freight 2-speed meal is about the best option out there for the money, without going to something like a Precision Matthews or something. And you know, we're looking at $2,000 for hobby stuff that I'm doing. You know, I don't see spending that kind of money. I know a lot of you thinking, well, why don't you just go out and buy a real meal? Well, where I live at used to be an industrial town. In fact, there's still several factories here. Most factories that are left, including the place I work for, don't have milling shops no more, or tool rooms. We do have one, but they only do minimum stuff. And we got rid of all our production CNC machines and mat sewers and stuff, and we outsource all that stuff now. So you know, and this happened years ago, so all that stuff got either moved to Asian, Mexico companies, or was put in the companies and sent to other companies around the world that our company owns. So and I've been looking since the late 90s for a milling machine. I mean, I'm seeing Bridgeports, just your standard Bridgeports, going for $5,000 and $6,000. I don't have the room for a big Bridgeport machine in here. It'd be nice, but I just don't have the room for it. So the mini mill is the best option for me. And again, like I said, if I buy the Harbor Freight mill, yeah, there's modifications that's got to be done to it to make it better. Column stiffener, change over from plastic gear drive to belt drive. All that stuff adds up, but it's stuff you can do over time. So yeah, you spend more money like that, but you spend it over time, and that helps a lot. Anyway guys, when I pick these bearings up and go to the bearing stores and look, I'll see what I can find. And when I go put this thing together, I'll have y'all right here with me, and we'll move forward on it and see what we can do. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Bye now.